I'm Shanna and welcome to Simply Circles in a Curvy Log Cabin. Both of these projects are about 18 inches square. They used 4 10-inch curvy log cabin blocks. Each piece top was made from only 2 fat quarters, one light and one dark, plus 4 2-inch contrasting squares. The curvy log cabin part is due to the differences in the width of the strips used for the blocks. So the red version has light strips that are cut wider than the dark strips, and the green example is the opposite. The dark strips are cut wider than the light strips. The blocks are both arranged in the same manner. The only difference is which part we made curvier. And the curvy log cabin is stitched just like any other log cabin block. And the ruler quilting for both of these projects uses only one template. It's the new and improved Artisan Curve multi-circle template. This is an incredibly useful template. It's called multi-circle because you can do a 1/4 inch circle here, a 1/2 inch circle, a 1 inch arc or circle, and a 2-inch circle. But wait, there's more. When combining this part of the template along with all of the pinholes or thumbtack holes, you can combine the pivot system with this nice line and create circles anywhere from 2 inches in diameter to 12 inches in diameter. And in addition to all the circles, there is a straight edge to measure or to use for ruler quilting, and a heart. Let's quilt. I'm going to show you 2 different projects today, along with 2 different quilting designs, all completed using only the Artisan Curves multi-circles template. It looks very complicated, but it's really very simple to use. Let me begin by saying this is an Artisan Curves template. So there are pinholes along the center for almost the entire length of the template. That means we can stitch circles in many different sizes. Here are 2 different sized circles inside a large circle. The entire piece is removable or can be replaced in any of 4 different positions. It's like having 3 differently sized Artisan Curve templates and a Circles on Quilts template all in one. This is the only Sew Steady template I know about to put so much functionality into one template. And over here we have a heart, simply because there was room. So you can quilt a regular 2-inch heart or a crossover heart simply by changing the etched reference line that you use. And over here we have a straight edge. You can use that for measuring or stitching a straight line, which is great for stitch in the ditch or for using to create the edge-to-edge design that you can see in the package instructions. And this is a 1-inch arc. So you can stitch anything from an arc to a circle just using the reference lines here and here. We'll do that today. And lastly, this piece of the template will allow you to stitch circles from 2 inches in diameter all the way to 12 inches in diameter. Let's go to the project. My curvy log cabin is created simply by making wider strips in one color and narrower strips in another color. And you can get many different looks based on how you want to put your blocks together. And this is just a couple of layout options I had for my project. I'll begin by marking 24 fabric reference lines using the Ultimate 24 crosshair ruler. So just simply place the center of the crosshair on the project center, which is easy to find when you're quilting on patchwork. Then line up the north, south, east, and west lines from your patchwork, and you're good to place the remaining 20 lines. If you do not have the Ultimate 24 crosshair ruler, you can use a 6-point crosshair ruler to mark 12 lines, then mark another 12 lines between those first 12. This is now marked with 24 reference lines. And when I lined up the crosshair to the north, south, east, and west, I was also able to line up the diagonals. I'm using a variegated embroidery thread, so it is a 40-weight thread. So a 40-weight thread in the top and in the bobbin case as well. My machine is a Bernina Q16. When I quilt my designs, I like to begin at the center and move out. So what I'm going to do first is the center design. So the elements of this design are a 1-inch circle in the center and 2-inch circles surrounding the 1-inch circle. Okay, so to get ready to stitch this out, I'm going to remove the center part of my template and set it aside. Then I'm going to use this 1-inch arc, that is the arc of a 1-inch circle, show you how to use these 2 reference lines to line it up and make a perfect 1-inch circle. The other thing I might try is, this is a 2-inch circle. If I had the echo foot set, I could use the middle echo foot and just put that on my ruler foot and stitch around, and again have a perfect 1-inch circle. Also, you can see that I've got a lot of stable tape on here, and that's because I have so many different elements in this template. I also have stable tape on both sides of my template, so in order to stitch my heart, I need to be able to flip the template over and stitch the opposite side of my heart. So, stable tape on the back, and a little bit of stable tape just here, here, and here, so that I can use the heart. But I want to put the stable tape on without covering any of my reference lines. So with my circle, I have center reference lines here and here, and I can use this as the center reference line. I also have diagonal reference lines. Circle makes it very easy to line up the circle. So I don't want to have any of these marks covered by my stable tape. Likewise, I have etched lines here that I want to use with the heart. And after I put all my stable tape on my template, I realized that if you have the stable tape dots, it's much easier to use the dots because of the fact that they are dots, that they are round. You can put them very close to the reference line, but without touching any of the reference lines. So as I use this template, I'll replace my stable tape with the dots, with the stable tape dots. When I use the Artisan curves, for the most part, I like to use the pinholes to get a perfect circle of circles, if you will. But since I'm going to be using the arc portion, I'm not going to put my thumbtack in my project just yet. But let's see how we can line this up. How do we create a circle from an arc. The arc is approximately 1/4 of a circle. So I have a reference line here and here. All I have to do is line up both reference lines at the same time using my fabric reference lines here, and I can make a circle. So the one reference line is here, another is here. If I line up this one on my patchwork and move the arc to the point where this diagonal reference line is lined up as well as this reference line, I can stitch my circle, bring my needle up and grab the bobbin thread, a couple of stitches, and get rid of the threads right away. And to make the next part of the circle, just simply move the arc to here, or say this line. I want to make sure that my ruler foot has a good connection with the arc, so I plan on stitching 4 repeats of the arc to complete one circle. So I'm lining up this reference line and the diagonal reference line. Where are you? Ah. So here and here, and then just go ahead and that's difficult to see, so I'm going to bring this around. So line up this reference line along with this reference line. And then bring it around, lining it up here and here. And I have a 1-inch circle. The other way to make a circle with this template is to use the 0.75 inch echo disc. By installing this as a little by slipping this under and installing it on the ruler foot, and then just simply put the template on and stitch around the 2-inch circle. That works quite well also. Okay, the next part of my design is going to be the circle of circles. So I'm going to stitch overlapping circles. But I only want to stitch 6 overlapping circles in the center, and I have 24 reference lines marked on my fabric. So 6 divided by 24 is 4. That should be easy. So that means every 4th line I can go ahead and line up my template. And this template comes with a needle guide or thread guide, so that I can simply lift my presser foot and slide my template on. I'm going to use my handy little ruler here and line that up. Yeah, line it up so my little ruler here, okay, is lined up along the pinholes. And then I'm going to mark right here just to give me a top center line. I'm using just a 6-inch ruler and extra fine Sharpie permanent marker. It'll make it easier for you to see. Okay, so if you have the Echo Guides, this is the 2-inch circle. And with the smallest Echo Guide, you can stitch a 1.5-inch diameter circle. With the medium, or the 0.75, stitch a 1-inch circle. And with the largest Echo Guide, you can stitch 1/2-inch diameter circle. And they work very well. Okay. Going back to my 2-inch circles, going to make 6 circles. So I'm going to leave my needle right where it is, line up my circle, and stitch all the way around, coming back to my 1-inch center circle. Rotate this either direction, using every fourth. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. First, I'm going to backtrack or walk my needle to be able to put my needle down right here. And line up my circle. If I get this lined up properly, I should not have overlap into my 1-inch circle. That's my goal. So, okay, well, let's see how this turns out. So, I'm able to line up the pinhole lines on one side and my little newly marked One, two, three, four. And I have equal distance from here to the template and from here. So I can go ahead and okay, so I'm just going to tie it off now. I did several small stitches in a row, and I'm going to bring my needle up, bring the presser foot up, and pull up my bobbin thread. Well, first pull the top thread to give me some length. Put the presser foot back down, needle back down, pull up the bobbin thread, presser foot up, and here's the loop of bobbin thread. So I'm able to clip off bobbin threads and top threads. Hello everyone. Due to an operator error, that means me, my camera did not record the quilting of the string of pearls or the half-inch circle of circles for the green sample. So I'm placing the stitching of the red string of pearls in its place. The techniques are the same, even the measurements are the same, so you'll get all of the technique. And then the video will continue by stitching the overlapping circle of 2-inch circles, and then the corner designs for the green project. And the red project video will be complete with all of the steps demonstrated. Sorry about this. Enjoy the videos. Back and pinhole method, I can take advantage of the little etched lines that are right here. This is so I can take advantage of these half circle reference lines when I'm stitching out my pearls. So I've inserted my thumbtack in the center, and I'm going to put my template on at number 10. The numbered pinhole that you'll use will vary greatly depending upon which direction the insert is lined up. In the first example, I lined the pinholes all up and stitched my strand of pearls at 8.5. But with the insert lined up pinholes perpendicular to these pinholes, then I put the pinhole at number 10, and that's going to give me the strand of pearls at the same distance from the center. So template on the pinhole, grab the threads, and just stitch one time around. It's difficult to see from this angle, but I have an etched line here. That's where the circle is going to be when I stitch, and the center line of that circle right here, so that I know that if I'm lined up with that center, I'm on the widest part of my little pearl, and that's where I want to stitch. So widest part of the circle, that means when I do my next circle, I'm not going to have an overlap. Get rid of these thread ends, but I'm going to come around to the widest part of the circle by lining my needle with that center line right there. Then rotate the template, and I can look back and see that I have this other etched line. It has a center line lined up perfectly with my needle, and I'm stitching right, or the etched reference line is right on top of my previously stitched pearl. Also, I'm going to be stitching 1.5 times around all these pearls, so I will try to stitch around one way, double stitch here, the next time stitch around, and then double stitch here. So that's kind of a little optical illusion. so that it doesn't look like only half of your pearls have been double stitched. And go one more stitch to get to the widest part. Double stitch the bottom, double stitch the top. I think these little pearls add quite a nice, elegant type look to the quilting. Look at that. I'm going to meet. There's my bobbin thread, top threads. I'll just trim them all off. Okay, so there is my strand of pearls. Now I'm going to add a couple of just straight line circles. Let's see, how should we make this look? My straight line circle is with this part of the template. So I could make a straight circle that's going to basically touch the tops of my pearls. But I want it to be a little further away than that. So that looks good. I'm going to be about a little bit more than a 1/4 inch away. I'm also going to add a circle on this side. Let's just, we can start anywhere. You can have your template turned either direction. I just prefer to stitch this direction. So you can stitch and stop and move. Get rid of my thread tails. But I kind of like to just stitch along, hold the template gently with my left hand, and turn the fabric with my right hand. And here's the crucial test that my two ends of my circle join perfectly. And I'll leave these long and we'll tie. Okay, I want to make a second line. If I put it right there, this is how I can get a second circle a 1/4 inch away by lining this edge of the template on the line that I just stitched. I'll get a 1/4 inch. I'll get another circle a 1/4 inch away. Okay, so that is set on 6.5. And I'm going to start at a different spot just in case I can see where I start and stop. I won't be starting and stopping from the same place. Okay. Just take these threads and bury them. And put one more circle. I think a 1/4 inch apart would be good. So it's like, okay, if I want to make this circle to be in this position, I need to have the pinholes that are lining up this direction to be lined up this direction. So I just lift off my tape and find my little half notch, line that up at the bottom, then replace my tape. At a pinhole, I would say would be at about 4, so it's the second pinhole within the little insert, and I think that looks about right. threads and make another circle. And it's right where it should be. Again, I'm going to leave these threads out and we'll bury them. So that is what we have so far. I'll bury these threads and be ready. Far. My total design is about 12 inches in diameter, and it just comes to the place where my curvy log cabin is changing color. So I want to create something that curves this direction, that follows the color, doesn't get too close to this, but isn't too far from that. So I think I'm going to make a loopy design, a design that kind of imitates one of the blocks that we are doing in the log cabin. And to do that, I'm going to use my 2-inch circle again, but I'm going to make loops. So rather than the overlap where I was doing an entire circle, or where the strand of pearls where I was doing a circle and a half, I'm going to be using partial circles, and I'm going to have my loops be coming this direction. So because my fabric is marked basically by the patchwork, all I have to do is decide where I want this to be, and I know that my stitching will be a 1/4 inch inside, so that would make it about a 1/2 inch away from my previous stitching. I kind of like that. So I need to so I'm just going to slide my template in here where I want it. Line this up diagonally so that I have the same distance from here to here as I do from here to here. Which is about 2 inches here and just about 2 inches there. So I can see that these lines line up with the corner, so I can just insert my thumbtack. I'm going to use the last pinhole, insert a thumbtack that is about 1.5 inches from the corner. So using this measurement, I can get my corners to be all the same. So let's put the thumbtack in. That looks pretty good. Also, before I stitch the corners, I took my project to the cutting table and trimmed off all of the excess batting all the way around. So, and this is because I'm going to use my backing as a wraparound binding. And that just makes it easier for me to trim so that I don't end up cutting the backing or anything else. Insert my thumbtack at number 10, and my template, my thumbtack is about 1.5 inches from the edge and about 1 3/8 from either side. So I have my thumbtack centered nicely, and I want to do some loops. They're going to look like this, and I want to have them kind of pointing down. So how do we start with loops? So I'm going to slide my template all the way around, and I'm going to line up that center line that I drew in, and go ahead and put my needle in my circle at that point. Grab the bobbin thread, and this is really quite simple. All I have to do now is stitch around, and all I have to do is decide where I want to stitch around to. How full do I want to make my loops? How long do I want to make them? The easiest way for me to get consistent loops all of the same size, I'm just going to put a little mark with a ruler foot. So I'm going to just put a mark using a ruler sticker. So I want to stop about 1/4 inch away from this little mark. Get closer. Yeah, so here you can better see the template. I'm going to start at the top, right at the edge of my fabric, stitch around to my arrow, to my ruler sticker, and stop. Pulled up my threads already, so just stitch. And stop. This is going to be within my binding when the project is finished. Now all I have to do is slide the template over where I am now just about 1/4 inch away from this little notch. So that's going to be able to keep me making the same size loops with each repeat. Stitch around the circle, stop at the arrow, rotate. I'm in the right spot, about 1/4 inch away from my little notched mark. Rotate. And one thing I have to be careful is, because I don't have a lot of excess fabric here, I have to make sure that I keep this straight. And I'm going to just stitch till I get to the edge of the fabric, and this will be in my in my binding. Remove the template for a minute so that we can see what we have. I kind of like that. Yeah, this design looks very similar to this, but just enough different. So I like that. Do we want to add more to the corner? We could add another row of loops. As you can see, they're very easy to do. Or we could even add a strand of pearls or another line. That one didn't work out so well. Never mind that. But a nice strand of pearls, or actually or a nice row of small circles. Well, let's try another row of loops. Only let's make these loops a bit shorter. So I am at the edge of my project, but I want to add another row here. So all I have to do is, so I use this portion of my template that stitches a straight stitch just down to where I think I want to put the next row. Yeah, I think I'll make it. Yeah, if you don't want to use the straight edge, you can always back tack. Backtrack back to the place where I can put the center just going off the edge here. And I'm going to start and stitch to about 1/4 inch above this little notch, so that you can see how it looks different when yeah, that's not got enough loop. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do more loop. So I'm gonna have to stay with the same amount of loop, but go in the other direction. I can move my ruler sticker to this side. So I'll be stopping and rotating. Stopping and rotating the other direction. Okay, let's take this off. So, 2 rows of loops. Very easily done with our circle template. There's only about 1/4 of an inch between the top of this and the bottom of this. But I think that'll do for this corner. I'm going to tie off my threads. And there's the little loopy corner. Okay, I can remove this thumbtack and use it on the next corner. Let's take a look at what this looks like on the back. Okay, not too bad. Let's just go around and do the remaining corners. The the next corner, I'm going to reinsert my thumbtack. I have the measurements now, so it's about 1.5 inches in and equal distance between here and here. So my thumbtack goes right about there. Yep, about 1.5 inches, 1 3/8. Okay. And insert insert the template over the thumbtack at number 10, and then bring the center over to the edge, pull up the bobbin threads, and make loops. You can use a lot of different templates to make loops. You could do almost any template that has a curve and a straight will make nice little loops. This time I'm just going to have my template marked on both sides, so 1/4 inch away from here, 1/4 inch away from the other little notch. And go ahead and really like having the ruler stickers to remind me to do something. In this instance, start and stop. Remove the template, and I only need to either backtrack or use the edge of the template to come down just 1/4 inch or so below the previously stitched. So then go ahead and put the template back on. Now I'm using about the number 6.5 pinhole, but if I need to come down a little further so I can use the number 6 pinhole, and that will give me the 1/2 inch between the upper and lower loops. Put the center on the edge of the template and make the first loop. And because I'm starting on the other side, I'm rotating the opposite direction. Just pull up my bobbin threads, remove the template, and trim off my threads. So you'll notice that the loops have a bigger loop here than here, and that's just because we've got a wider circumference for these than we do here. But still kind of cute. I like that. Okay, I'm going to do the other corners just the same and show you what it looks like.